Something I've never really talked about on the channel is that 2 years ago, my dad unfortunately passed away. He was only 69 years old, really healthy guy visually, working every day, working hard as well, very self-made, and he just dropped dead. His heart popped, and it was a massive loss. And living in Sweden, it was even harder because I'm so far away when something does go wrong suddenly like that, and you just don't expect it. But it did change my outlook on life. It made me realize that life is really short, and so I just bought an RS6. My dad was also a fantastic mechanic, and Audi was always his favorite brand. He would have been proud. As a kid, I wanted an Audi 100, but in the 90s, they were way too expensive. Then along came the RS6, and ever since that moment, it became my dream car. The perfect balance of size, power, convenience, gadgets, unnecessary tech, and a presence on the road matched by no other car, ever. I've always loved cars, and in the UK I was a car fanatic, but since moving to Sweden I just find that people don't really care here. I even spoke to one of the performance car dealers out here, and they said that nowadays they don't sell the lovely cars, the high performance cars in Sweden. They just export them out into Europe. And in their words as well, they get more money for them by selling them out of Sweden, which is really unfortunate. So I just thought, with this horrible, sad event happening, now's the time to reignite my love of cars. And this thing has definitely done that. Now, in respect to changing my outlook on life, I don't mean to go crazy, but I do mean that I work really hard. I'm self-made as well. No one's ever given me any money. I wish they would. I just think that you can literally drop dead any minute. You could be hit by a car any minute. I just think that anything can happen. And I'm not saying to go and spend all your money and get rid of all of it, because you've still got families and lives and a future which might need funding. But I do mean that, you know, if you're stockpiling money in savings accounts for a rainy day, or, you know, for your kids, that's lovely. But if you feel that you've got a bit of extra and you work hard for it, as I do, then you ought to enjoy it, because when you get older, you can't. And as the old saying goes, you can't spend it when you're dead. You know, my view now is just make the most of life. And this is a practical, fun, family, spacious car. They are insanely quick. But also insanely safe. And when you've got a family, you want to be transporting them in a car that is safe. The only complaint that a lot of people have, even in the new performance model, which this is that they're too quiet. And you want to hear the V8 engine. It's got a 4-litre twin turbo engine in this thing, which is insane. 621 brake horsepower. It's just like so much power, but you can't hear it. In this new model, they even remove sound insulation. And still, when you put your foot down, I think it sounds great, but some people want more. The other thing is that they are known to be highly restrictive in the air intake system. The actual inlets are very, very small into the turbos, and that of course limits the power, limits how much fuel goes into the engine because of the mix of air and fuel, and therefore you're getting limited power. So the quickest no-brainer for improving the sound on a car like this, which has got limited air intake system, is to replace the air intake system, right? There are two big players on the market, APR and Eventuri, so I looked at both of them. The APR one isn't quite as comprehensive. It only replaces the upper element of the air intake, whereas the Eventuri replaces the whole thing. It also widens the bore of the inlet so it can get more air into the system. And also, if you look at Eventuri's YouTube channel, that had me sold. I think the chap is called Bilal, and the way that he shows his research and redesign and testing and everything just absolutely sold me on these things. By the way, this video is not sponsored by Eventuri. I wish it was, but I ended up buying one out of my own hard-earned money and started fitting it. It's worth noting that unfortunately these systems do cost between 1,000 to 3,000 euros, so they're not cheap. But as they say, miles of smiles when you do it. And I've got to say, I've now fitted it and it was well worth it. I mean, I just never expected it to sound like this. Like, gosh. When it all arrived, it was packaged really, really nicely. The instructions also are online, so you actually log onto a website and download the instructions from there, which I guess makes it easier because they can then keep them updated. And they're really well illustrated, even for a complete mechanical noob like me. You simply follow the pictorial diagram and it shows you exactly what you need to do. The instructions had photos as well, so if you were confused at any point, you simply look at them and that guided you as to where you needed to go. Overall, it took me about 2 hours to fit. I probably could have done it quicker, but I like to take my time with these things, so I make sure I'm doing it right. So anyway, before fitting it, I took some video samples of the sound. Now, I didn't take any whilst driving because quite honestly, you can't hear a lot, especially from the front of the car. Out of the box from the factory, they don't really make any noise from the front of the car. You've got the pops and crackles in RS mode at the rear, of course, so I did capture some of those. But anyway, here's the before sounds, immediately followed by the after sounds. And I gotta say, on first startup, my jaw dropped. I was super happy with this. I did not think the Eventuri would make this much difference, but the difference is unbelievable inside. You can now hear the turbos. Listen to this. So from the front, you can really now hear the car breathing. It sounds like it was suffocating before. There was just no sound at all, but from the front of the engine bay, you actually now hear the air being sucked in. Besides that, the throttle response is definitely better. The car doesn't feel quite as smooth in RS mode anymore because you've got more throttle response when you do hit that accelerator pedal, but only marginally. Don't expect a radical difference in feeling for power. They do say that the Eventuri on an untuned car does give between 20 to 40 brake horsepower or so, but on a car with 621 brake, you're really not going to feel that tiny little difference. Overall, it wasn't cheap, but nor is the RS6. And as I said, you only live once. Don't spend beyond your means, but if you've got some spare pocket money, treat yourself and treat your family because you can only spend it whilst you're alive. Overall, I would say this was worth every penny. It's not making the car much quicker because it doesn't need to be much quicker. It already is quick, but it does mean that you can now hear the beautiful V8 engine. You can hear those lovely turbos and you can hear the car breathing as well. In that respect, definitely worth it. As I said at the beginning of the video, look after yourselves, stay healthy, get yourselves to the gym. For my regular BeingSwenglish viewers, sorry that this wasn't your regular video about Sweden, but this channel is my way of just being creative, and so I hope you don't mind occasional videos that are completely off topic. But I am in Sweden, so it's still a bit relevant, right? If you want to see more RS6 videos and also videos about Sweden in general, hit that subscribe button. Thanks very much for watching, guys.